Okay, Chaverim, come, whoever needs pages, let's get right to it. It's already late. Amen. Boker Tov. Adar Bet, sponsored by Chavili, Leilui Nishmas Tanchum Ben Chaim, and Yosef Ben Yitzchak, Mindy Barad, Leilui Nishmas Asher Anshel Ben Shrago Faivo, anonymously in honor of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, anonymously in honor of the Beer family on their anniversary, anonymously for Month of Joy Healing, and celebrating in our land for the continued protection of our holy Chayalim and healing for all who need it. By the Brenners, the Leilui Nishmas Yitzchak Ben Nachman, by the Avrams in honor of their second anniversary, and the Yotzeit of Shachar Saba, Reuven Ben Avram, by Sarah Gold for the Shlema of Esther Dania Bat Sarah, Chavi Yochev Tadas Bat Sarah, B'toch Shar Chol Yisrael, and for the Pidyon Shvuim and Nitzachon and Yeshua of Am Yisrael Be'eretz Yisrael. Today, sponsorship is by Meira Al Goldberg Bar Lev, in memory of her amazing Ima Rachel Bat Natan. Amen. Amen. Okay, Chaver, let's get right to it. We got good stuff to do, and I basically want to ask an important question, very important question before we start learning. If I ask Begadol, like if I ask Mamash, like, you know, from the top, if I ask you and I say, what needs? If I ask you and if I ask you all and I say, what needs to be done here? How do you fix the Medina? What's the first thing that comes to your minds? Like the first thing.
Help the Arabs leave. A religious government.
Help. Let's go with this. Help the Arabs leave.
Which would be.
No. Don't go with what he said. Go with what your first thought is. You said it. A religious government. A Torah-led government. Okay. What else? Get rid of Hamas.
Get rid of the deep state.
Get rid of the deep state. What else? Aliyah. First thing. Like, again, first thoughts. Beis HaMikdash. What else?
More free housing for Jews.
More free housing for Jews. All of the above. Says this last one. Okay, so what we did right now is basically, I want to explain to you that each thing that was said right now is Gewalt, meaning it's all Bezrat Hashem, like Nekudot. What is that? Is that Chokhmah or Bina? All the things that were said right now.
Chokhmah.
Very good. What's Bina?
Find it out more.
How? Okay, this is very important for our shir. Bina is that moment of what I said. Nachon, it's nachon. Bina is okay. איך זה מתבצע? איך זה מתבצע? אני צריך לחשוב בהירות השכל, ברורים. How it gets implemented.
In modern Hebrew, it would be like the opposite, right? Like Chokhmah would be like Bina would be like the general.
Probably, yeah. But it's the biduk afuch when it comes to Kabbalah, when it comes to Pnimiyus Torah.
I believe Bina is insight, understanding.
I don't want to go with any other interpretations other than the way we just brought it down right now. Chokhmah is a havraka. Havraka is like a lightning bolt. Boom.
The brainstorm.
Boom. Boom.
So the Yud.
Bina, it is like the Yud, yes, it is. But then we get complicated because then what is the Hey Bina or is Vav Bina?
Hey, it's Bina.
Again, this is why it's very complicated learning this stuff when you have different Hasidic backgrounds in your mind. Because it's not all the same. Because Vav, Ota Chibur, some say that is actually the way to take Chokhmah Bina, and then the bottom Hey is Das. So what happens to the second Hey is another Shaila. But for all intents and purposes, for our shir, what we need to understand, because right now we're in this level of Birurei HaSechel, we have this idea, Tikkun HaMedina, boom, it's that. Zenachon. At least we're thinking, which is good. We're thinking, we're not stagnant. But many people have thought before. But it still led us to, U-turn after U-turn after U-turn after left turn, kilu right turn. What we're trying to do here is to try to give some kind of a tzura to the havrakot, to the lightning bolts that keep on coming down, which everything you said right now, I mean, anyone that says, no, that's not part of Tikkun HaMedina, of course, everything we said right now is part of Tikkun HaMedina. What we're trying to do is build kelim to understand this moment of Chokhmah. So now what we're going to be learning today, it's on Daf Nun Daled in the Svarim that you have in chapter 4. This is already right now the next level of understanding very deep Kabbalistic concepts, and that is the role of mother and father. Mochin de Av, Mochin de Em, the intellect of the father and the intellect of the mother, which corresponds to Chochmah and Bina, which corresponds to Torah shebichtav, Torah sheba'al peh, which corresponds to all the avodah lemaisa that we're trying to do over here. I want to jump right inside, but have in mind what we just asked, okay? This is very, very important. B'Kabbalah nimshelu ha'chochmah va'bina le'aba ve'ima. So Chochmah and Bina in Kabbalah is always parallel to the concepts of mother and father, father and mother. כדי להמחיש את האופן בו הן מביאות את נקודת ההשכלה הראשונה לידי בירור גמור. This is all in order to bring about the way that they bring about that they bring to life, into fruition, how things intellectually become what they become. Okay? There's a lot to say on this. There's just one footnote. It's very interesting. This sefer was originally written in English. I only found that out last week when we were by Rav Ginsburg. But then, when they translated it into Hebrew, this happens quite often, they developed it much more, and they because when you read the Hebrew and the English, if anyone's following in the Shir and the English sefer, it kimat never is exactly like, face to face with the Hebrew, but there is.
Did Rav Ginsburg have something to do with that translation? With the pituach of it?
I'm sure he always does, because he always looks over every single thing. So I'm sure that a lot of the adding ons and clarifying concepts came from it. But sometimes there's certain things that are like, it's just so, you have to go back into the English. I'm noticing, especially in one of the footnotes that I wanted to look at today, to help us understand everything that we're trying to speak about. But we'll get there in a second. המפגש, the meeting, המכונה זיווג, בין החוכמה והבינה, מתבצע על ידי ספירת הדאס. דאס is what brings chokhmah and bina together. Okay? Da'at, which is the lashon hitkashrut. Ha'adam yada et chava ishto. Da'as is that which connects the worlds of chokhmah and bina. Shehi ha'koach ha'mechaber benehem, v'molid mitoch kach et midot halev. After, now this is very important, after I have my chokhmah, which then leads me to my bina. Now, yesterday on Monday we said, Chokhmah, what's the inner experience of Chokhmah? Bitul. What's the inner experience of Bina? Simcha. Da'at is what connects the Bitul that I feel to the Simcha that I feel. Okay? Da'at is the thing that connects these two things together. After that takes place, it gives birth to the emotions, the midot shebalev. So the answers you gave, as right as they are, there's still a shtickle triggered by midos in the heart. If we didn't work at all with heart, just with mind, al pi seicha, what makes sense, I'm not sure if everyone would have given the same exact answers. Maybe yes, maybe no. Lo batuach. But in Chabad, the whole concept is moach shalit al halev, which means that which I know has to make sense, al pi seichel, that is what gives birth to then the emotional world that I'm in. Not, which is, usually, it's afuch. What causes me to be convinced that things make sense? What I feel. You can, the Torah tells us that's not the way you go. You don't go about first and say, what am I feeling? Now it makes sense for me to do what I'm doing. It's first al pi seichel, what to do and what not to do, then it gives birth in my heart. But we're in good hands. Because how is a person supposed to come to any understanding of what they're supposed to do or not supposed to do without the heart? Torah. You understand? The chokhmah of the Torah. The wisdom of the Torah. The halakha. The halakha, the world of Torah, is that which gives me the instructions as to grasping seichel, intellect. When I say seichel, intellect, I'm not speaking about what makes logical sense to you. That's not a Jewish concept. The way that things make logical sense to us is only through the wisdom of the Torah. After that makes sense to me. Then I go into my heart and see what is this giving birth to in the midot of the lev. So far, so good? That's a very important yesod over here. So only one person, there were two statements that were really speaking more, well actually one, Shlomo Mordechai, you said, a Torah government, and Eli, you said, Beis HaMikdash. Did anyone, all other things were like Arab related, right? More or less. Okay, so it's not, the question is where
All these go together. Yeah,
they go together, but if we're building a binyan, the question is, what is, stepwise, where do we start from? That's more on an action level. That's more on a midot of the lev. Here, I'm not so sure. Chokhmah Bina is not about. There's a sur merah ba'aset of.
What does Yeshua do? What does he first do? Lorish starts. Then afterwards you build all the stuff.
Inachinami, but al pi ma does he morish et haaretz al pi Torah? That has to keep on coming. We have to keep on coming back to that, because there are many right-wing voices that are not coming, not in here, Baruch Hashem, but I'm saying in the Medina that are not coming from the Torah perspective.
There's also derech eretz kadmon Torah. Sometimes you have to be plain logic. Like there's a plain logic that is obvious also. You can't have haters inside your land. Any boy can understand that.
יש 100%, אבל אנחנו לא בונים את הבניין over here על פי זה, ואנחנו בונים את זה בצורה אחרת. פשוט להיות פתוח, to see, we're building something over here על פי the ספירות of the Kabbalah. It's a different way of approaching that, which we may get to the same exact maskana. That's what I'm trying to point out over here. We may get to very similar maskanot as to what needs to be done here, but we're doing it through understanding how the sfirot are working within our body, within our experience in this world. And the way that we're doing it over here today is through Mami and Abba, Mom and Dad, Abba and Ima. The sfirot, what is mochin, what is the intellect of Abba in Kabbalah, and what is the intellect of Mother. Now, some of you that have been learning Chassidus for years, you've seen these concepts before. They're not chidushim, but whoever hasn't ever learned this before, we're going to do it slowly and hopefully as precisely as we can. Okay? This is very important. Okay. Shma beni musar avicha ve'al titosh torat imecha. You all said that this morning, right? No?
I didn't say it. Where's that?
The first thing, huh?
The beginning of the surah.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm showing people, they don't remember.
They don't, I know, but it's right there. I know. It's right there in the beginning of our day.
There's a lot of stuff.
After Reish Chachma.
It's in Reish Chachma.
Yeah.
I really get the Ramban once a month or something. It's like there.
It's every single morning as well. Shma beni musar avicha ve'al titosh torat imecha. What's musar avicha? Pirusho haTorah shebichtav. Torat Hashem. Shma beni musar avicha. Musar avicha is Torah shebichtav. Just to make it clear, what is Torah shebichtav?
Moses.
The 5 books of Moses. What else is Torah shebichtav? So this is very important for us to understand that when we say Torah shebichtav, usually we're referring here mamash to stick to Chamisha Chumshei Torah. Okay. But based on Chamisha Chumshei Torah, would I know how to put on tefillin? Would I know how to tie tzitzis? Would I know how to do almost anything that I end up doing? No. Nachon? So look how he builds this up. Torah timecha is Torah Shebe'al Peh. That's the oral law. Pri pitucha shel Knesset Israel. That means the fruit of development of Knesset Israel. That, like how we develop, how we understand things, how we grow with our knowledge. That's Mama. Okay, that's Ima. That's Torah Shebe'al Peh. Shorsha shel Torah shebichtav hu b'chokhmah, Abba. So the root of what we say, what we call Torah shebichtav, that's in chokhmah. That's Abba. So when you'll hear the reference of Mochin de Abba, the intellect that's coming from the Tzionek, from the place called Abba, what is that referring to? Keep on going back to it over and over again. Slicha? Torah shebichtav, nachon. Mochin de Abba. Chokhmah. Ratzon Hashem mevuta ba bekitzur korav. But the Ratzon of Hashem is expressed so minutely. עד שלעיתים אין כלל אפשרות להבין במה מדובר. Sometimes you don't even understand what the Torah is saying. Like someone once told me, I never forget this. This beautiful brother, this hippie that in Los Angeles, late at night, he was explaining to me why he's really, he finds himself to be much more like a Karaite than an Orthodox Jew. Why? He says because he felt that at a certain point in the Masoret, we got too stuck on details. I've heard this taina a lot. I'm sure you have before. Mamash. Really? We got betach. That's actually where he was leading me to. We got too stuck on details, and we just didn't trust ourselves to understand what the mochin de'aba is, meaning the written Torah, the Torah shebichtav. And then we just got too stuck in details, and then basically he led me to say, like Yishai referenced, really, JC, Yimach Shemo, he was the one that came and restored what it was kiviyachol really all about. Right? Because Hashem Yerachem, nachon?
So the guy started believing in them.
It's
I don't think he understands what he believes in, but basically it's bilbuliyada.
It's funny because like the way he's explaining it here, that the Torah Bechshav is the Abba. It's like it's historically, I think emphasis has been on like women learning Torah Shebichtav and men being responsible for the Baal Peh.
Very interesting what you're saying. Nachon. That's very interesting.
The what?
Say it again.
Well, but like to my knowledge, like men have been responsible for Torah learning Torah Shel Baal Peh, and women historically have been responsible for learning Bechtav. Like they don't like until recently the Gemara, coming to women, like they weren't allowed to learn Torah.
It's very interesting.
That's the das. You got to learn the other stuff.
It's very interesting. Huh?
Yeah, that explains everything.
It's a big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal what you're saying. But the problem is, Chazal have this weird statement that we don't really understand. Nashim da'atan kala. You never heard that before? It's like, it's usher to say words like this in places like Efrat, but it's a Chazal that say.
Got worse ones.
I know. Lo tzarich. We're good.
But sometimes my wife asks me, what did I learn in Daf Yomi? I tell her the Daf Yomi. She's like, she's so not like, it doesn't.
It's a different register. Now, today's day and age, we got to be careful with how we understand, how we explain these things, because it's such an emotional and triggering thing today, mamash. And, obviously here in the shul, it's very beshita that things here are very different than it is in other places. But that's all very much, every malach is, Baruch Hashem, very thought out and directed and guided by tzaddikim. It's not al das atzmi. But we're going to see how what you brought up is, I hope we at the end will understand even that as well. Okay? Even it's a very good nikudah what you're saying. Let's go back to what Torah shebichtav is. He says, Retzon Hashem mevuta ba bekitzur korav, sheleitim en klal efsharut la'avin b'meh medubar. Like we said before, the example of tefillin. If I just learn Torah shebichtav, what would I do with tefillin? I'll tell you a gewalt thing. My buddy Yehuda and I in LA. There was a place. This was a wacky thing. Wacky. LA, you meet mamish, like wow, everything, everything. Anyone else here from LA? No one else is here from Los Angeles, right? Anyone ever live in LA for a while? Yeah. Oh, Mr. Rich, of course. Okay, there's a place called Pizza World. It used to be when I was a little kid. It was called Kosher Nostra, whatever. It's one of the famous.
Uncle Moshe made the song? No, that's something else.
No. That's in Borough Park. Check this out. Pizza World. It's like one of these. It's a gewalt pizza. It's like basically you order like a slice of pizza. It's as big as like a magash here in Eretz Yisrael. One of those kind of places, stuffed, all these things, whatever, all the Gishmak Oilam Hazeh stuff. And somehow all these pizza places then eventually become Mexican places, and everyone sells sushi, milchik, fleish. It used to be just pizza, whatever. The point I'm saying is that I used to go there with my buddy Yehuda and I, because they gave a Gishmak green salad too. We used to order a green salad, one piece of fried onion, like Moshe Tzarich, okay? Even my brother, when we go, he texted me 2 nights ago. He was in LA for a concert. And he takes a picture of Girsa de Yankas. I was like, yeah, I'm back, What used to happen, we used to see someone mamish crazy in there. a guy walked in filled with robes. I think I told this to you many years ago. And he's wearing his tefillin, 2 pairs of, like, here and here, on his heart, and here. Okay. What's your first reaction to that? You didn't get the mess? Cool guy. Interesting fellow.
Takes things literally.
Yeah. Or a dafkanik, right? Like why you still have a tefillin on? You're eating pizza. You know, that you have to think about that. That also, like, it was mamish l'shem shamayim. You do that in shul or wherever it is. Then you take it off, but you don't show up to eat nachos and you know, with tefillin on your heart and between your eyes. No, the mashu echad. But I saw that one time. But without Bina, the chokhmah that I have, the way the Torah works, זה לא מספיק לי. I don't understand it. And it was supposed to be like that. זאת אומרת, Torah שבכתב בעל פה is not a b'di'evid. That's what I want to say. Torah שבעל פה, the oral Torah, is not a b'di'evid saying, listen, we just weren't smart enough. We couldn't chop it on the level of Torah שבכתב, chokhmah. So b'di'evid, what do we need now? Torah שבעל פה. It's not b'di'evid. It's also lechatchila. It's the way that Hashem wanted it to be transmitted down into the world. Al pi hadavar asher yorucha. Right? We needed it in order to understand what anything means. And this is true about every single mitzvah. Okay? About every single mitzvah, you need Bina to really understand the chokhmah. You need Bina in order to really understand the chokhmah. עד שלעיתים אין כלל אפשרות להבין במה מדובר, כיצד יש לקיים את מעשה המצוות הכתובות בתורה, ללא שנעזרים בתורה שבעל פה. What does Torah שבעל פה do? המרחיבה. It widens, מבארת, it explains, מנתחת ומפרטת. Excuse me. It literally, like לנתח, you know, how do you say, like analyze, dissects it, right? And gives it into great detail. יש מסכת שלמה בתורה שבעל פה נכתבת כדי להבהיר פסוק אחד מתורה שבכתב. We have a concept of having a full tractate of Torah Sheba'al Peh that is coming to do what? Explain one pasuk. Now, did any of you ever learn Shitat Brisk, learning Gemara? Okay. I didn't until I came to Amiftai, until I came to Yeshiva. And what's Brisk? Brisk is basically Chakiras. Chakirot, Gavra, Chayfetz, meaning... actually, Rav Noam alluded to it a little bit for a second this morning about the Chefetz and the Gavra of a mitzvah. In Brisk, we did this my first time learning like this. I remember at that time I was close to the Biala Rebbe, the one that's in Givat Shaul. And I came in to see him after a few weeks in the yeshiva, and he looks at me. He's like, "You're not so happy with learning." I'm like, "How'd you know?" He's like, "Come on." My anacle of the Yidda Kodesh for nothing. Like, he didn't say that, but that's what I feel like he was saying to me. Because why? I'm used to like learning. You're learning a sugya. You're running with it. You're moving forward. You feel like you're grasping. We were learning Nazir. We took 2 lines of the Gemara and dissected it for 3 weeks of flipping it over back and forth. It was just I wasn't used to this type of learning. The truth is, what it does to the development of the intellect is unbelievable. It's actually an unbelievable shita. It's amazing. But we grew up in a world where it's more like, even though I'm learning holy things, I need to like feel like in a modern concept of success, of like moving forward and vitering. But really, we can have a full masechta that's just trying to understand one pasuk in the Torah. That's how important, how essential Bina is for the chokhmah.
Like we learned the name of Shabbat Torah.
Slowly, yeah, we did. It's true.
It's like when you get like one of these like huge safers that come out that's like darshaning like 70 answers on a single
Nachon.
question.
You have this sometimes by the Shach and the Taz and the Bach. There's sometimes in certain places the Taz will give like what was it? It was a sugya in Isser V'Heter. I forget what it was. Oh, it was what he gave. I think one of our tests for smicha was to give 17 or 18 different scenarios of Sfeika's Deraisa, which would keep it Safek Deraisa, a Sfeika already brings it down a notch. And to analyze between the Safek Deraisa or the Sfeika Deraisa. And really, because the Taz has, I forget which tshuva I met, I forget the sugya, it could be, if I remember, I think it was the whole concept of abiria. Abiria, those that ever learned in the inyanim of kashrus, abiria or a chanan, chaticha nasis nevela, whatever it was. But you see, like dissecting what it does to the mind afterward. It's an incredible thing. But basically, emphasizing the importance of that type of learning is actually called the bechina of Abba or Ima. Ima, which according to the way that he brought it out there, that actually brings me tremendous joy, simcha, when I could dissect something so much and understand it so clearly. Like that's basically en simcha katarat asfekot. Maybe that's probably one of the ways of understanding it. The greatest simcha is when you matir a suffix. How do you matir a suffix? You have to go, you got a mamish beholding and going over and over something. Le'atir a suffix. I did that. Gewalt, such simcha. What do you want to say?
I was going to say, I think it's the Beis Halevi who has that famous tshuva that writes that the whole purpose of learning Torah is not to learn the halacha. It's just to learn
it's like the
dance.
dance.
It was the big machlokas, different worlds. His whole thing was just keep spinning that wheel.
Yefem. Ki, why is this like this? Ki ha-Torah shebe'al peh hi Bina, Ima. He koletet et ora chokhmah. Bina, the Torah shebe'al peh, receives into it the or of chokhmah, that light of intellect. Hanimshal letipat zera ha'av. It's exactly al pi biologically. This is exactly what it is. The woman receives a seed from a man. What it does with it afterwards is a whole ganze Geschäft. And contrary to what America is trying to do in the world, there is no other way for the woman to bring life into the world. But again, the chokhmah, that tipa comes from the av, and then it goes into the mother, which is the world of Bina, and then that's how we understand how basically things come into fruition. Now let's get a little scary here right now. We know chokhmah, I'll pee this, okay? Buckle up. Chokhmah without Bina in the world causes churban. Tohu. Very good. Very good. You understand what we just did right now? Chokhmah, repeat this. Without the klita, without the reception of Bina, Chokhmah on its own. We know Kabbalistically speaking, that's like the bad stuff. That's the dark, the super dark stuff. But Israel brought us back to the beginning of the learning. That brings you back to Tohu. You could still have Chokhmah. But without the Bina, it could never get to Dat. It stays in the world of Tohu, of chaos. There's no receptacle. There's no Kli Kibul. Okay? That's not too complicated. It's just heavy. Now he brings you the Alter Rebbe that we all know, Al Pi Gemara, Mekora shel tipat hazera hu b'moach, v'chochma mocha. Now this, the Alter Rebbe explains this very clearly through the Tanya. What basically is the thing that produces that seed, that piece of the or, that chokhmah? It's something in the mind. The mind tells me, like the mind basically, it's produced up here. It's not just a feeling. It's I understand this is a good feeling, and that's what produces it. Now the Alter Rebbe, I forget what parak it is. I wish David Aaron Jerome was here. I forget which parak it is. But the Alter Rebbe goes deep inside to explain to us that our whole being in this world is rooted in the thought that our parents had while they were bringing us into the world. Right?
Specifically the
Bet or Gimel?
Second part.
It's Bet? Okay.
Specifically the father.
Okay. Av.
Right.
Av. Chokhmah. It's the thought at that moment. And that is why, mamash b'sha'as azivug, b'sha'as tashmi shamita, in the moment of intimacy, it is so crucial for the mind to be in such a pure and holy place. Not detached from the world, Khalila, dafka in the world. You're making the world more beautiful, but do it in the holiest and purest way. Right now, this kind of Torah, you could either use this as blaming your inner, like the inner child. Now we'll go back to all the blame and all the mishigasim we have in our lives. This happens like a lot of times. People learn this kind of stuff, and then they're like, Hold on a second. I gotta call my father. Yeah. I gotta call.
That's the mother off the hook.
What's that?
The mother.
Yeah, not here.
No, I know.
Not here.
But does it? And is it written down over there?
It's not there. No, not in Tanya. In other places, of course. Umefatachat ota berichma, after the brackets here, and basically the Bina develops the Chochma in its rechem. Now in Chassidus, in Kabbalah, rechem means, basically in Hebrew, rechem is womb. Rechem comes from the word
Mercy.
and how does the Gemara call the Torah and HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Rachmana. This is a long teaching of Rav Ginsburg. It's not for now, but these are very important ideas. It's all connected. Okay? In the womb, the makor of rachamim in this world, having mercy on ourselves, is taking Bina to meet Chochma, that I can understand me. I want to understand me. I want to understand why I have these thoughts. I want to understand why I have these ideas. Because that's what gives me Rachmanut on myself. The person that could lose his mind easily is the one that has all these thoughts, he has all these ideas, and he always gets stuck in the same place. I don't know what to do with it.
Do you ever understand that?
To the best of our ability, 100%. Our own Chochma?
That a guy could be attacked his whole life with these bad thoughts, and his job is to push them away and keep on choosing.
No, I'm talking about here a thought of asiyah. I want to do something, and I don't. How many of you have had good thoughts about doing something? Hopefully all the time. How many, and in percentage-wise, how many of those good thoughts come into fruition, into Lamaisa?
10.
Less.
10%? Yeah. Huh? Yeah, I'm like, wow, Ari, that's...
I don't have that many thoughts.
Straight for the middle.
Right. Yeah, 10 is Gewalt. But what we're saying over here...
Good thoughts.
Yeah, we're talking even about good thoughts. We're saying...
Now you're talking about bad thoughts.
No, bichlal no. Thoughts of binyan. Good thoughts. Do you know how many siyum shasas I did in my mind? You understand? Meaning, do you know how many svarim I've written? Do you know how many albums I've recorded? Way more than whatever actually came out. Way more. Do you know how many things already happened in the shul? The mikvah, I've been there. Do you know how many things? You understand? Bina brings me be'emet simcha, like you said before. Why? Because it gives me a place of understanding really what's going on in here. Das comes and brings the zivug between the two, but all that process happens in the rechem, the makor of rachmanut in the womb. So this is beautiful Torah. It's not exactly what he's going with here, but it's good Torah to say on this al derech. אותה טיפה זעירה צופנת בחובה את תמצידו של אדם שלם על כל חלקיו. But that drop of semen, that seed, within that seed, it basically contains within it everything. It just doesn't have the oven. I know, it's so horrible. It's amazing how in 2024 to talk like this seems so like...
refreshing.
It's just biology. It's not opinions here. It's not like I'm not voicing an opinion. It's just, I know. It just is what it is. Lelo peulat ha'erayon va'gidul ha'iti shelahem, but without the process of pregnancy and the slow development that takes place in the rechem, yishaer kol ha'osher hazeh behe'almo. All this richness will remain hidden. It will remain not seen, which definitely can cause to such a hefech of simcha, which could bring to a lot of sadness. Im navir, now he's saying, let's now take this, navir et hadiyun, let's now take the conversation into us, into our noseh. Kshemehararim b'rayon shel tikun ha-medina, when we start thinking about how to fix the Medina. Mavrik eze barak shel rayon ketzad advarim tzrichim litrachesh. We have an idea. What was the first thing Yishai said? Idud hagira. I think that's what you said, right? How did you say it in English?
Helping the Arabs leave.
Helping the Arabs leave. Gewalt idea?
Yes.
100%. 100%. Havraka zo hi reshit ha'talich, chokhmah. That's the chokhmah. כעת צריך הרעיון הגרעיני הזה להתפתח ולהתפרט. But now we have to go inside a thinking tank, right? How to get this thing into fruition. יש לברר, so how do you do this? יש לברר את יסודותיו. You have to do a birur, like we said on Monday. You have to sift through all the different things that really are the foundation of the idea. ולהוציא את כל הטמון בו אל האור. And now bring to light all that this idea entails. If it's just about Arabs not living in Eretz Yisrael, you'll have another enemy come and live in Eretz Yisrael. You understand? That's a birur of the Yesod. I'll give it to you in another way. This is very deep. This is very, very deep. We're getting the Torah we say every single year. Listen closely to this. Rav Kook talks about wiping out Amalek, that the Torah uses the word erase, right, to wipe out. So Rav Kook says that the melecha of the Lamitet melechas is a mochek. When are you over the melacha of erasing something? When is it considered that you're over it, that you went transgressed it? Hamochek al menat lichtov. If that's when you're over the melacha. If you're just hamochek al menat limchok, it's not considered a gemar melacha. Which Rav Kook says, en baya, wipe out Amalek all day long. But what are you writing instead? So, now we're doing a birur on this chokhmah of idud hagira, of helping the Arabs leave. The question is, what are you placing there? That has to be deeper.
Jewish mentality, Torah mentality, like Yeshua.
Or Eloki. Yes. Or Eloki. Godly light. Now it starts, nachon. Hitiyashvut Yehudit, v'chulei, ze nachon. But this is how we begin to decipher, we begin to litamek la'omek, all the havrakot, all the moments of chokhmah. Okay? Kol ze mitrache, this, what we just described right now, we just did it for a second. Obviously, it's much more meforat than that. Aval kol ze mitrachesh be Bina. That, in the world of Bina, in M, that's where all that takes place. Ba'anu kvar matchilim lirot tmuna muchashit. In that place of Bina, we begin to see a tangible picture shel tochnit hatikun hamefuretet shel Medina Yehudit. That's where we have an actual plan of how we're having a fixed Medina, a Jewish state. Kan megia Torah dat lemaleh tafkida. We did Chochma, we did Bina. That's Abba and Ima. Torah shbichtav, Torah shba'al peh yafeh. Now who comes to shine? Dat. Dat we understand to be the thing that is. How do I do it? How do I connect to the Chochma to the Bina? How do I do it? Right? Kan megia Torah dat lemaleh tafkida. בתכונתה הרוחנית המחברת בין השכל וכוחות המעשה, in its spiritual way of appearing on the scene, connecting the seichel and kochos למעשה. מתוך העמקה וההפנמה של מחשבות תיקון, from deepening and internalizing all our thoughts, all our good thoughts, like we said in the beginning of Shir, which will bring to a tikkun, to a fixing of the Medina. What then starts to happen? Then the heart starts to get awake. Not before. That's avoda. It's almost like saying, keep your heart out of it. Keep your heart out of it because you can't always trust it. First, come to the place of what does the Torah say? What does that lead me to think would be a good idea for the Tikkun Medina? Then alev matchil yitorer. Then we could start to operate through the tchunot of the heart, the 7 midot of the lev. שבע מידות הלב, שהן הכוחות המניעים מקרוב את הפעולה במציאות החיצונית. These are the powers that are basically driving from close this outer reality that we're living in, מתחילות להרגיש מה מתבקש מהן ולהתכונן למלא תפקידן. The emotions, the 7 midot of the lev, after the process of chokhmah, bina, and dat, they begin to guide us and direct us how to basically lemalot, how to fulfill what I came to intellectually. It goes together. Yeah, brings the way the peula is mitbatzea has a Yiddish reach, has a holy reach, right? That's the whole picture right now. What he just did here is the whole picture, still a binyan of Chochma, Bina, Dat, and then the 7 midot of the lev over here. But it's very important for us to realize that over the years, basically like this, with very good intention people, how come it looks like this after 75 years? Like, why does it still look like this? Al pizeh, according to this, why do things still look like the way they are?
The lave was in the wrong place.
So it could have been there was the lave was a good, meaning it was beautiful lave. It was great. It was great ritzonot. It was ma'od. What else could it be?
Driven from the wrong place.
Driven from the wrong way.
If the makor is the thought in the father's mind before it ever gets to Bina, if there's a problem there, the rest of the process is going to be
Right, but
off.
remember that Rav Ginsburg is not dismaying the existence of the state.
Okay.
He's not, because he keeps on. He's reminding us. Ben Ashurot, yesh po kli.
You could fix it.
Yesh po kli that needs, but recognize that it needs to be fixed. Whereas other places, other Chassidiyot would say,
Snipe it out, smash it, right?
So the state would be the chachma here, let's say.
interesting. Let's go now like this. What's the state? Chochma.
It's a flash.
It's the kli, right? We said the chachma.
It makes it happen.
So what's the Chochma? Yehud Am Yisrael, like Netzach Yisrael.
I'm there too.
I think the Bina is the state. I think that you need the people. Hashem gave it to us.
It's hard to say, but I think he'll give us an answer. But it's a very good question. Is the state the Chochma or the Bina?
Why can't it be the
Definitely the Bina.
It's the Bina.
I think so too. It's the Kli. It's the Kli. It's physical.
Very worked out.
Jewish sovereignty is, maybe we'll say Jewish sovereignty in Eretz Yisrael is Chochma. I'm throwing it out right now. Yeah? Tell me how this sounds. Jewish sovereignty in Eretz Yisrael. No, I have to add one more word. Holy Jewish sovereignty in Eretz. No, because that's basically the whole thing over here, right?
Yes.
That's the whole thing.
No, you're talking about the way it is.
No. I'm talking about what when I'm saying
If you drive,
the drive,
is a
Ken?
dot and not a
if you drive
nationality.
parallel to Torah Shabbat, then it's the concept of Yishuv Haaretz al pi Torah.
Yishuv ha'aretz al pi Torah.
That is Torah Shabbat.
That's Torah shebichtav. Yefeh. Okay, what's Bina?
The Bina is the Torah Shabbat Peh, which is how and what and in which way do we develop the proper.
The Yishuv ha'aretz.
That's right.
Okay. Beseder. I'm going to stop here because I don't even want to ask that, because then it comes to opinions and and I want him to give us his platform here. I just want to read to you one footnote from the English, which is just it's just so beautiful. I saw the great Hasidic master of Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev teaches that on Shabbos Chazon, which is the Shabbat of Vision, which precedes Tisha B'Av, the day of national mourning over the destruction of the first and second temples, every Jew is consciously or unconsciously shown a complete vision of the fully constructed third temple. It may be added that so too does the soul of every Jew receive in his or her mother's womb of Bina a complete picture of the optimal Jewish state. Where that's because usually what do we say that what are we learning? What are we learning when we're in our mother's womb?
Torah.
What Torah?
Torah Eretz Yisrael.
So he's saying over here a beautiful concept. He's saying that what we're learning in our mother's womb is a complete picture of the optimal Jewish state.
It's amazing.
That's Gewalt, no? I never heard that. Did anyone ever hear that concept before?
Nothing similar to that concept.
It's unbelievable. That's what's happening in the womb. Why? Because I want to say now the optimal Jewish state is the greatest resemblance of Rahmanut that could be in this world, which happens in the Rechem, which happens in Bina. It's Gewalt, no?
Yeah.
Baruch Hashem. Okay, Ashreinu Shezachinu. We'll continue with Hashem next week. Yofi, Ashreichem.